Ice got me making paper, boy.
So, we're back sooner than I thought we'd be. How's everybody doing? I hope you all are doing well. You can't be if you're watching one of my videos. I thought it was going to be at least 2 months to 3 before I upload it again, or even had a slight idea of what I wanted to upload, but hey, we're making progress. Don't know how long that'll last. But today we have an iceberg theory / explain video. You know that trend that's been popping up all over YouTube lately. I don't really want to explain what an iceberg video is, but I guess I will. So an iceberg video is basically a video where you'll have this certain topic. It could be a show, game, and things of the such, and it'll have different layers to it. These layers will have different theories regarding the topic, whether the theories at the top are more widely known and lighter in tone in quotation marks. And the farther you go down the iceberg, the more you realize that there is more going on under the surface. Like an iceberg. Basically, the farther you go down, the darker and more interesting, in quotes, the theories get. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing today, and it's going to be a Naruto one. So originally I planned for it just to be an iceberg video on a whole bunch of anime theories, but apparently there isn't an iceberg that's made specifically for anime theories, just ones for specific shows like the Naruto one we're doing today. So if anybody watching this would make an iceberg just covering a whole bunch of anime theories, that would be highly appreciated. There were 2 icebergs I had to choose from related to Naruto, and I'm going to flash them on the screen. I decided to go with the one on the right because the other one is interesting, to say the least. This intro is getting long enough, so let's get into this iceberg, and I'm not going to lie, this iceberg has some weird entries. Also, this video will contain some spoilers for the Boruto series if you haven't watched Boruto. So yeah, viewer discretion is advised. Naruto and Sasuke will die. I mean, we all know that, like, that's nothing new at all. You see how dirty they're getting done in Boruto, especially in that fight with Jigen they just had? They weak as hell now. Sasuke was already done dirty from the beginning of Boruto, even before he lost his Rinnegan Sharingan. Like, how do you go from controlling all the tailed beasts and being one of the strongest shinobis in the world to running out of chakra after throwing 9 shuriken and doing 1 fucking jutsu? Like, hello, like, this shit is sad. Trash, I mean Sakura, was supposed to be tied to Genjutsu. If you didn't know, Sakura is a Genjutsu type shinobi, but she never actually ends up using Genjutsu. Maybe they decided to change her skill and just have her be mostly a taijutsu type of shinobi since Sasuke could already use Genjutsu. But regardless of what you do, trash will always be trash no matter how you clean it up. Like, how do you give birth to a Uchiha that needs glasses? Shit is really crazy. Tsunade is 106 centimeters. I mean, it basically speaks for itself. Kid Naruto saw Hinata naked. Originally, I remember something like this kind of happening. I couldn't find it, so I thought it was the Mandela effect. But after doing some digging, I found out it was referring to when they went on a mission to the hidden sound village, and Hinata was training in the river naked at night, and Naruto came upon the river and saw her outline in the dark, but didn't realize that it was her. Konohamaru is incredibly weak for someone who was introduced in episode 2. I mean, a lot of people who have been introduced in Naruto early on in the series are weak as fuck. I mean, look at Trash Ben here, but I understand where the entry is coming from. I mean, he's basically the same level he was in part 2. Like, dude's getting bodied in Boruto. Mance has almost died like 3 times already, has gotten saved multiple times by Boruto on them. You just hate to see it, man. Neji died for no reason. So, I see why this is on the list, because when you really think about it, his death was really pointless. I mean, yes, this is a war and people are supposed to die in war, and the deaths wouldn't really have any meaning if it wasn't somebody from the original 12. However, why kill Neji off here when he was contributing absolutely nothing to the plot? A much better place for him to die would have been in part 1 when he was fighting the spider dude, the Sound Ninja Kidomaru, I think his name was. You should have killed off somebody like Shino or Tenten, because, I mean, they weren't contributing anything either. Like, shit is whack as fuck. Boruto is a Tsukuyomi dream theory. So this is a theory that states that Madara and Obito completed the infinite Tsukuyomi, and all the events in Boruto aren't real and take place in a dream. Kind of self-explanatory, and to be honest, I wouldn't mind if it was true at all. Kakashi will die. It's kind of like the Naruto and Sasuke will die entry, where Kakashi will most likely end up dying in Boruto, considering he's already died once, for character development for Boruto, Sarada, and Konohamaru, who definitely needs it. If the Akatsuki didn't split, they would have won easily. Pretty common sense. I mean, if they all would have moved together in one group instead of splitting in pairs, they would have succeeded 100% without a doubt. It would have taken longer, don't get me wrong, but it would have succeeded, and Sasha wouldn't have to have gotten clapped by Sakura. Yeah. Jiraiya's fate. I couldn't find exactly what this was talking about. Maybe it has something to do with Akashi and Koji, but if anybody knows, let us know in the comments. Sasori killed himself. This is the idea that Sasori could have avoided the last attack, considering he had read the attack, and granted she points this out herself, but he let himself be killed in that moment while surrounded by his parents. Still got clapped by trash. The Naruto and Boruto universe is aiming for Dragon Ball level. I don't know. Next entry. Most strength comes from DNA. When you really think about it, it's basically like that in real life. DNA determines a lot of different things. I mean, look at Naruto and Sasuke. Their fathers were both goated, and you see how they turned out, gods, and they were already reincarnations of Ashura and Indra. And then Sakura's genes mixed with Sasuke's to make this. Moving on. Naruto was never an underdog. People always whine about how the destiny stuff in part 2 goes against part 1's messages, but forget that Naruto only won against Neji and company because of his 9-tails chakra. Not to mention, he was always supposed to be the son of the 4th Hokage. They look way too similar already in part 1. Just look at part 1 Naruto and look at the 4th Hokage's face on the Great Wall. Dude was special from the beginning. This was never an underdog story. Rock Lee is the only character who should be considered an underdog, and he got shafted anyway. Shikamaru was Naruto's actual first friend. I mean, that's something that's actually widely known. Shikamaru was one of the first kids to widely accept Naruto and become his friend. As seen in the early days of Naruto's childhood, Shikamaru and Choji were the ones that seemed to have the closest bond with him. Another point that supports this is that he's always there for Naruto when he's needed, like when Jiraiya died and Naruto needed words of encouragement, and also when Shikamaru was about to die on the battlefield, he remembered Naruto's dream to be Hokage and gathered up the energy to regain consciousness so in the future he could act as an assistant. A true friendship, if I do say so myself. No one apart from Naruto and Hinata has 2 kids. Self-explanatory, but when you really think about it, why has nobody else had another kid? Like, I'm not understanding. I give it about a few more years. As a matter of fact, I give it post-time skip and Boruto, and I guarantee that Sakura and Sasuke are going to have like 3 more kids. Repopulating the Uchiha clan isn't going to happen on its own. I mean, just look at Indra. My man's went from just him to all of this. That boy had to have had them bitches. Dude had to be clapping cheeks at least 5 times a day. Zetsu made everything happen. Don't know what this is specifically referring to, but I mean, Zetsu pretty much did do a whole lot. He was basically the entire army himself in the 4th Ninja War, and Black Zetsu basically caused everything to happen in the first place. So yeah. Conan could have killed Obito. Conan was a really underutilized character in my opinion, for real. Like, there's so much she could have been used for, but nope. Kishimoto said, fuck that, and decided to kill her off. And she really should have died. Like, if this nigga Obito didn't have that Sharingan and used Izanagi, that was his ass. Like, damn, all the time wasted collecting 600 billion paper bombs just to go out like this. It's sad. Karen's memories about Sasuke are fake. Don't know what exactly this is talking about. Maybe they're referring to the Chunin exams where Karen says she met Sasuke where he saved her, but we never saw this happen. I don't know. I definitely know that she wasn't shown in part 1, but I don't remember if Sasuke ever went off on his own during the exam for this to be able to happen. Mostly because I fell asleep during this part, but yeah, next entry. Misty is related to the Otsutsuki. So there's this theory going around that Misty is related to the Otsutsuki clan, more directly Tonari. Other than their uncanny physical resemblance, I can't see where this came from. I mean, in the series, you do see Misty talking to the moon, sometimes where Tonari resides, but that's a stretch at best. Summon animals have no reason to help ninjas. Now, this is something I actually didn't realize until now, but yeah, summons have no real reason to help ninja. I mean, there isn't anything that makes them have to do what they're told. Unlike other anime you see where when someone makes a contract with a summon, the summoning animal cannot disobey their master's orders. You learn something new every day, I guess. Shisui's body was never found. I mean, common sense. If his body was found and ended up getting reanimated, I'm sorry. Naruto and them may not have won that war. Sakura Sage Mode with Slug Chakra. I mean, garbage is still garbage at the end of the day, regardless of what you do to it. Orochimaru aims for Sarada. So this theory states that Orochimaru never gave on his evil ways and plans on taking over Sarada's body when the time is right, since he didn't get Sasuke's. And I'm not gonna lie, that will make for a very interesting arc. People revived by Edo Tensei don't mention the afterlife. Very true. Take Kakashi for example. The man got murked by pain and was talking to his pops in the afterlife and came back and didn't mention the afterlife to anybody. I guess everybody's just too traumatized to talk about it knowing that they died before. Yeah. Hidan is still alive. I mean, he can't die. So my boy's kind of just casually chilling in that hole, waiting for someone to stumble upon him and get him out so he can have his chance of revenge. Dude's been down there for like a whole decade now. Plus on, I really wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back in Boruto. We saw in Boruto that there was another follower or disciple of Ja or whatever their God is, I really wouldn't be surprised if they brought him on back in Boruto at all. Naruto's kids have Kurama DNA. Sure. I don't really feel like going into detail about this one, so if you want to read about it, here it is. Pause if you want. So we're on to the final layer of the iceberg, and this part of the iceberg is basically a meme, but we're gonna go with it anyway. Izuna was a female. People have too much free time on their hands. Like, how do you even come up with something like this? Well, the theory goes that Izuna was a female disguising as a male to be able to become a ninja. We didn't see female ninjas in Madara's flashback, so it is possible that they simply were not allowed to be ninjas in the past. Kishimoto took many names from mythology, particularly Japanese mythology, but if he used Norse mythology too, in which Izuna derives from Iduna, a goddess related to fertility, then it makes even more sense. Also, I think apart from other Uchihas, Izuna looked feminine and had a low weight and height. Yeah, make that what you will. Kishimoto only came back because Samurai 8 failed. Whoever put this on here is down terribly. Like, you didn't even have to do the math like that. For those who don't know, after Shippuden, Kishimoto went on to start a new series, which was Samurai 8, and it goes to say that it didn't do as well as planned. And while I don't think this is the reason he came back, I can see why people would say it. Rock Lee and Tintaro Metal's parents, but they are divorced. I would honestly not even be surprised. I mean, think about it. After losing Neji, they both were depressed, especially Tintin, and this could have led them to, getting together to help get over the trauma, and later down the road realizing that there was never any real love there. You just hate to see it. So that's going to about do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Sorry if I sound a little different. I kind of just woke up. I'm getting ready to go to class. But again, hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you should definitely like and subscribe. And yeah, that's going to be about it for me.